my name is Damon Kiely, and I am the co-adapter and director of It's a Wonderful Life. I have directed this radio play version many times in different versions, but this time we wanted to see if we could do it on stage fully. So fully, living in it. So if they're in a house, they're in a house, the dining table, they're there. And so it's really fully inhabited and fully embodied. And so that part is kind of exciting. At TheatreSquared, we tried to make this as immersive as possible. And last night was our first preview. And as part of the play, we built in this idea that the play opens with 8 actors coming out, holding candles, singing Silent Night. And the idea is that we hope the audience would sing along. And I was shocked and just so moved last night. The entire audience sang along to every Christmas carol in the show. They really were they became what we hoped was they were part of the community of Bedford Falls. They were there. There's a beautiful sign in the movie and when you walk into the theater, and it says, "You are now in Bedford Falls." And that's what we hope people feel when they come here, that they're there. They're immersed in it. They're not, watching the movie where it's over there or seeing a typical play in some ways. No, they're surrounded by it. They're in it. They're part of the story. Well, it's interesting. It's been surprising. Yeah, I have heard these scenes either watching the movie or directing a radio play or now in rehearsal, I don't know, hundreds of times. I find something new every time. They're just very well written scenes. Frank Capra, along with Joe Swirling and a bunch of other people, including Clifford Odets, just wrote a great script. And so, yeah, to me, it feels a little bit like an American Christmas Carol at this point, or an American, not Shakespeare play exactly, but that kind of classic, something that has endured because it still has something to tell us today, and because the messages are still important, and then also the dialogue is just excellent. To me, this play is topical for 2 reasons. One is it's a perfect time of year to do it, and I think you could do it every year, because at this time of year, when the days are shorter and when it's getting colder, or maybe not so cold in Fayetteville, but anyway, it's getting a little colder and the days are shorter, it's time to gather, right? It's time to come together with your family and your friends, and you say, what's important? What's the most important thing? It's family, it's friends. There's a beautiful line at the end. No man is a failure who has friends. And I think at this time of year, it's really, really perfect. It's important. On a deeper level, on a bigger level, I would say the idea that community, as opposed to individuality, right? Loving your neighbor as opposed to trying to make money. That's what this play is about at its core, And that right now seems to be a message that's pretty important to hear right now, I'd say. The idea that you should support your neighbor, lift up your neighbor, you should try to make a community. That right now, at this exact moment, seems pretty crucial. Well, first of all, it's an American story. It's not an English story. It's very much, I think, about being an American. And there's something beautiful about it being in a small town in America. I think that kind of sticks out as well, and about community. Many years ago, I think 2011, TheatreSquared did It's a Wonderful Life live on stage in an adaptation written by Bob Ford, the artistic director. And so there was something to start with there, but we knew that we wanted to make it shorter. We wanted to make it more theatrical, and we wanted to, as I said, immerse the audience in it. So that's where the idea of the singing came in, but then also just really showing live on stage the transformations. So there's an actor who plays Joseph, and he also plays Mr. Gower, and he also plays Peter Bailey, right? And those all happen right in the beginning of the play. And you just see him on stage, just put on a jacket and then change his voice and then become Gower. So that was part of the thinking of it. And the other thing, what's it entail? It entails shortening it. You have to take some things out. For those who are looking for the scene where people fall into a swimming pool, that is out. But many things we kept in. And so for me and Bob, we felt like the text of the movie is so good. We barely changed it. We didn't want to change it at all. And the scenes are great. We didn't want to just combine them. So the idea is just making it more theatrical, figuring out how these 8 actors can play the 60 characters, and then trying to streamline the story so that we can get you in and out in about 2 hours? That is a great question. So part 1, a few months ago, I did a first pass of the adaptation, ran it by Bob, and we had a few conversations about it. And so that does actually help me, right? When I'm going in to do design meetings, because I know the structure very well, because I've been working on the structure. And in fact, I would say because of design meetings is when I went, oh, let's cut that scene too. Oh, wait, we can cut that scene too. So that was part 1. Part 2, when I'm directing and I had the ability to change just little things, little pieces of text, we start clarifying things, We start figuring out in rehearsal, like, oh, wait, we can cut that. We don't need that. Or we're like, wait a minute, the beginning of the scene is not clear. Maybe we need to add a little line just to kind of help us get in there. So yeah, those are the kind of things that help clarify. There are a lot of really small, deep cut references to the movie. I mean, first of all, you should know that we made this so anybody who's never seen the movie will come and have a great time and enjoy the story. And we have tested that one night, and we've talked to a bunch of people, including some kids who'd never seen it, and they were with it the whole way. It was very clear, loved the story, so that's great. But also anyone who's seen the movie or watches it every year like I do, we want to have them have a great experience. So what does that mean? It means that the actors are doing their own interpretation of these characters, but being true to the spirit, right? So our George Bailey, who, by the way, has never seen the movie, which is kind of incredible, has made it his own, right? He's not trying to copy Jimmy Stewart. He doesn't even know what that performance is like, right? But he's still going through the same things that George does, right? So he still has this family, has these friends, has these disappointments, has this terrible experience, and then has a great, reunion at the end, right? So that is a big, that's one of the things that we're doing. And so for those who see the movie every single year, yes, we have a lot of little tiny things that feel like if you're an aficionado of the movie, you're like, oh, look at that thing. That's just straight from the movie. Things like the bell, the way the bell works. There's like a couple of shots from the movie that I have tried to mimic almost exactly, like beat by beat. And I think that if you've seen the movie, the Clarence we have and the Potter we have will be pretty familiar to you. I think the great thing is that while it's very topical, and while if you've seen it before, it's a great movie, and while if you haven't seen it before, it's a great story. The main thing is this particular evening at the theater has all the things you love at the night of the theater. It has music, it has singing, it has dancing, it has an incredible language, it has beautiful movement. The set is surprising and beautiful. The costumes are stylish, and the acting is just stellar and exceptional. I think you're gonna have a great night at the theater.